Good morning, YouTube friends. It's Dale from whatever the weather may be. I thought I'd take a little walk this morning. It's been a while since I've taken you with me on a walk around my yard. There's a reason for that. For most of the summer, my yard was dead. We had a severe drought here. We had less than 2 inches of rain from the time our snow melted until just about 2 weeks ago. So what you're seeing now is not at all what this looked like before. Everything died. The grass was gone. It wasn't even brown. It was nothing. It was just dirt. I didn't even think the grass would come back. And as you walked, it just crunched beneath your feet. All the flowers, most of the things that I planted this year, annuals, didn't make it. Most of them didn't even come up, actually. And so I did plant some things like here in the flower garden. I planted beets just because. And actually, they just started to come up now. So it's been a very challenging year to be a gardener or to be doing any kind of gardening, actually, even flowers or vegetables. See here, this is my cosmos. Look at where they are. They're just now starting to bloom, and they just came up. They've only been, here's another one coming up. This is the way the yard has been. These echinaceas are probably 2 feet. Usually they're about 5 feet tall. These calendula, same thing. I planted them in May, and they just now have come up and started to bloom. So it's been a really crazy, crazy year. You can see here, this is sort of what the whole yard looked like. Obviously, some of this isn't going to come back at all. So, yeah, it was quite a disheartening season, really, for me. I had great plans for all of my vegetable garden and my flowers this year, but it just wasn't to be, I guess. This little box I had lettuces and stuff like that. I think I had kale in here and lettuce, different kinds of lettuces, and everything bolted in June, the end of June. So I have now put strawberries here, and they seem to be okay. I'm not holding out much hope for these strawberries. They're a fairly old plant. I'm going to get some new ones for next year. And what did do really well is my herbs. Remember this little garden here I made out of some old bricks, and I planted herbs in it, and the herbs have done really well for some. Well, I guess that's because they are Mediterranean. They can take the heat. So as you can see, they've done great. There's my purple sage. This is a mint here, a peppermint. I think that's a bee balm. There's parsley and lemon balm and basil. And then over here I've got a little lilac. I can't remember. I think this might be savory here. And then thyme. So this has done really well. This is basically the only thing that did really well in the whole garden this year. And now that we've had some rain, this little garden has come alive. This was my wildflower garden, and I had thrown in seeds for cosmos and zinnias, and now look at this is the first cosmo I've seen all year, and it's just opening up now. There's some new buds. I should have been seeing this in July. These zinnias are just opening now for the first time. I'm happy to see them, but they're not going to be here long because we're getting down quite low at night. We've had a little bit of not we haven't had frost, but it's been very, very close. And I believe that the frost is only around the corner, really. I moved my little dogwood tree over here. I needed to, it's not a tree, it's a bush. I needed to have something a little taller grow here. This was where the corn was and the beans. That's all been taken out long ago. I think I had 4 cobs of corn and 1 package of beans in all of that I had sowed. So that wasn't all that great. This little sedum is so pretty. I love the color of it. Of course, the weeds, they've grown. The drought didn't seem to bother them at all. And this is my calendula. It's all dead. I'm hoping that the root survived, but if not, I can reseed it. And I don't know what else is coming up here. There's something else is coming in here. A weed of some kind, no doubt. This is my fruit. I've lost both my blueberries. Here's one. It's done. And the raspberries, they're doing all right. Some of them, there was, I think 3 didn't come up. 3 of the those stakey things they didn't take. These 2 are fine. And this other raspberry, look, there's still a grasshopper. We had loads of grasshoppers. They just demolished everything. And this little blueberry is dead too, I believe. I'm not going to pull them out. I'm going to leave them till next spring. Maybe it's just the top that's dead. I don't know, but I'm going to leave them. So here is my little sunflowers. These are the ornamental sunflowers, and even they suffered. They're coming out now. The ones that were out before died very quickly, but now they're starting to have the odd flower come out now, so we can maybe still enjoy them. And actually, I've seen the birds in here. The birds have really enjoyed these. They're constantly in here eating, so that's fine. We can feed the birds. And of course, this is where my carrots were. I had planted carrots 3 times and they didn't come up at all. So I had tilled it and I covered it, and I hope that there's nothing underneath there, as in portulaca. This here is a volunteer tree. It's a poplar. This came up this year all on its own. I don't know how it got planted, but I'm going to leave it. It's actually growing in a very good spot. So I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to take these other things out. Yeah, and it's quite healthy. It's just a sapling. So I have a tree that I didn't have before, and that's good because this yard needs trees very badly. Over here in this mess, I have pumpkins, and I have a few. Here's a little one. These are the cooking pumpkins. They're not the big pumpkins like a jack-o'-lantern. These are the small cooking pumpkins. They're very dense. They're great for making pies and stuff. So I have one. There's another little one. And another one. I have 3. They don't get much bigger than this. So that's good. And I have one butternut squash that looks terrible. Actually, it doesn't look very healthy. Oops, I'm hooked. No Uh, I think this was another butternut squash, but it didn't do anything. Zucchinis, these have to be pulled out. They're finished. Oh, gosh, no. Look, there's one on here. I'll have to take that one in. I will pick that one. Look at that. Nice zucchini for supper tonight. And these two big things have been my 2 stars of the garden this year. This is the patty pan squash, and they have produced like crazy. And I don't know why, because they got no other treatment than anything else. They got no extra water. But look at, they're still full and growing in there. I've probably picked 50 or 60 if I've picked one. So I will plant these again. I don't think I'll plant 2 though. I think I'll only plant 1. But they have really been a great little producer. I'm very happy with them. I had never grown these before. They're going to be a staple in my garden every year. And here was where the tomatoes were. The tomatoes did very poorly this year. I didn't have blight, but I also didn't have tomatoes. I had some, but not a lot. And on the trellis, the morning glory was the reigning queen. I had a few cucumbers, not that many. And peppers. Actually, I picked some peppers yesterday. They're still okay. But the frost will get them soon if I don't take them out of here. And the chard is still doing fine. And actually, the chard can take quite a bit of cool weather. So we'll still be eating on that. Even if it freezes, the chard will be fine. It gets really nice and crunchy. Look at that morning glory. Isn't it lovely? So I have different plans for this trellis next year. It was, other than the morning glory, nothing grew on it. I had planted these noodle beans, and that's as far as they got. They were a complete disappointment. They did nothing. So I don't know if I'll even try them again next year. And this is the extent of my beets, other than what's planted in the flower bed. And none of them are big enough to pick yet. So, and then underneath the hedge, I found it was just growing along here under this hedge. I found an oak tree, and I pulled it out and I put it in this pot, and it lost all its leaves and it looked like it was going to die, so I threw them in the garden here. And I see it's coming out with new leaves. So I'm going to have an oak tree here, I hope. I'm quite excited about that. And it can happily grow right where it is. It'd be a great shade tree for this area over here. And speaking of over here, this is a hot mess. I have zinnias now, which weren't here before. All kinds of zinnias coming up. And some poppies. They weren't here before. And more zinnias. I planted all of this early on. And it's just coming now. I think this tall thing might be a crocosmia. I had planted those all over the place too, and like I said, nothing did anything till now. My little clematis, I think it had 1 flower on it, but it too suffered. It was so hot and dry. It was terrible. And I did water. I watered every day, but it didn't do much good. Over here, I have some mint. And, oh, there's another pepper. I forgot about that one. I'll have to pick those. Look at that nice pepper. Lovely. 2 more peppers. And there's another crocosmia. That I didn't remember that I planted there. And back in here I have some chocolate mint and a lot of weeds. Oh, and look at a volunteer poppy. And my little vine is climbing. That's an English ivy or something to that effect. So next year, hopefully, the one good thing about gardening is there's always next year. You can get your hopes up for another year. Hopefully it'll be a different type of year. Maybe not so dry, not so hot. I do know that for sure we are building raised beds, and they are going to go in this spot here where the tomatoes all the way through here. I'm going to put in 4 by 8 feet beds, raised gardens. And then I'll of course have my trellis here, and I'm going to leave this little bit over here for things like pumpkins and things like that. So it'll look a little different next year, God willing. I just gotta pick up my zucchini. I don't want to leave that there. Oh, and I still have some lettuce in here because I want to save the seed. I let it bolt, and I need to, as soon as the seed is ready, I'm going to nip the seed out of here. See, the seed is starting. I'm going to gather all that seed up. And it actually, some of it is coming back. Look at. Could eat that quite well. This one is bolted, so we might actually be able to start eating some of this again. And look at one sweet pea coming back. It's amazing what 2 weeks of rain will do to a garden that had given up. Here's one last little teddy bear sunflower. The rest of them look like this. That one decided to come up now. Isn't nature just wonderful? It heals itself without any intervention on us, our part. So, on this beautiful fall day, I hope wherever you are that you're seeing green still, and you're still picking the odd vegetable from your garden and flowers from your flower bed, and hearing some bird song. The geese are here. They've been flying over for the last week and landing in the retention pond just east of town. And the robins are gone. I didn't see them leave this year, but they're gone. Take care, everyone. I'll talk to you again real soon. Enjoy these beautiful fall days. Bye for now.